So I'm guessing that we can see my screen. Let me start from, okay, slideshow. And start from current slide. Okay, yeah. So I also want to be able to check the chat box part time. Okay, so I have an operations officer. Let me move the chat box to like a corner or something. Um, I used to be able to do this. Okay. So I have an operations officer. Please, can we sort of all respond? So I would be able to like go through. So today I'm supposed to talk about unlocking peak performance and a deep dive into an employee well-being programs. And to be honest, I would assume that this session is probably targeted towards HR professionals. And oh, awesome, we have a co-founder. Okay, that's brilliant. So it would be, this program is probably targeted towards, HR managers, talent managers, and of course, yes, tech funders, co-founders, funders, etc. Um, a good place to start. I want this session to be as interactive as possible, but I also know that like we are sort of a few on the call, so I do not know how interactive it will be, but I would try. Um, Okay. So the objectives is like very simple, right? To understand that performance at work can be, determined by different factors. And like this point is very important because in my journey as like a talent manager and HR manager, I have seen the most ridiculous things contribute to people's performance at work. I remember that there was a time, well, I would shed more light on this when I get to benefits, but there was a time that I had to introduce a policy majorly because two high flyers were having a dip in their productivity because they experienced an outbreak, right? And it was ridiculous to ask them to go on leave because they had just, got served breakfast by Yoruba men. But I mean, things as minor as that, affect employees' productivity or your performance at work. So yeah. Then the second part is just understanding the importance of optimizing employee well-being programs for productivity. Okay, so let's roll. So this is sort of my first question. I mean, I already gave an illustration, so I thought of answer this. What are the top three factors that contribute to employee productivity? Like, if you are like asked, like anything that comes to mind, feel free to say anything that comes to your mind. What are the things that you think? Either you are like a founder, a manager, or something. I mean, I already see someone as a software engineer. Think about it. On the days that you're very productive, what are the things that contribute to your productivity? And on the days that you are not productive, what are the things that contribute to your productivity? We can just start. I mean, I'm very happy to start. A huge things that contribute to my productivity is NEPA and light. When there is light, I'm more productive. And when there is good internet, I'm more productive too. When there is no light, like it's like my productivity automatically gets divided by 50%. So that's one thing. I want to hear from us. You can unmute if you're in a place to talk, or you could just use the chat box. What are the things that contribute to like your performance and productivity at work? I'm waiting for you guys' response. I mean, the host can start.
For me, I would say food. Food is one of the things
Very
that can
important.
contribute to my productivity. Yeah.
That's right. Food. Okay. Thank you very much. Actually, food is very important. And yeah, that's actually very valid. It's not something to trivialize with. There was a company where I worked where like one of the things that fell into my KPI was actually the quality of food. So like we served lunch and like the quality of food, the quality of vendors, those kind of very operational things fell into my KPI. So yes, food is very important. Multiple meetings. I'm guessing like this affects your like productivity negatively. Yes, I agree. When people have multiple meetings, there's a way that it can sort of sort out your day. There is a company I've worked with, we have a day called no meeting day. That means that even if fire is burning, even the CEO cannot put a meeting on your calendar for that day. If for any reason, like any absolute reason at all, like there are only two people that can put a meeting on your calendar, the CEO and the COO, and they will call and they will ask you to say, hey, are you able to spare 10 minutes? Or are you able to spare 5 minutes? So, and I know that there are also companies like that have like no meeting days or no meeting hours so that sort of help their staff plan the rest of their day. So yeah, I totally agree with the multiple meetings. Please do share responses as we move, but like I want to move first. Okay, so let's start with the definitions, right? What is peak performance? Peak performance is when a talent delivers optimally, both physically and mentally. So that means that the talent is well, in his mind or her mind or their mind, and the person is also well physically, right? And in the workplace, peak performance means that employees' needs are being fulfilled. The employee is happy, the employee is productive. And when there are, challenges, because obviously it's 9 to 5, it's career, there will be challenges. A sales lead, someone that's promised to give you money will disappoint last minute because of a government policy. A product that you have worked on will crash at the end because CBN woke up, or, said, which other was the other institution aside CBN? What's the other one? There's CBN. There's another monetary institution. I can't remember right now. But yeah, a government policy comes forth or an infrastructural challenge happens, and then, your product falls through, it doesn't pull through. So the ability for people to also be able to bounce back easily or find easier means to bounce back from work setbacks is also part of peak performance. Again, it's very important that you remember this definition as we progress. Peak performance is first, employees. Um, sorry, give me a second. Let me take this poll. Oh, okay. I don't think I can take the poll because I am an host. Okay. Yeah, so peak performance is when a talent is able to deliver optimally, both physically and mentally, and then employees' ability to be happy, productive, and be able to bounce back, easily from setbacks. Now, having established what peak performance is, let's talk about employee well-being. Employee well-being is defined as the overall mental, physical, emotional, and health of the employees. It's influenced by various factors, such as their relationship with co-workers, decisions they make, the tools and resources they have access to. I feel like this one is very important. The tools and the resources they have access to. I know people that have joined organizations just because every engineer in the organization uses Mac. Like I'm telling you guys, like people have joined the organization for most ridiculous reasons, and I use ridiculous not in a negative way, but reasons that when you say that this was the final reason why this person accepted the offer, you might not believe it, but it is true. I know someone that joined a very popular tech company in Nigeria just because he wanted to use an M2, and senior engineers, M2 is a version of Mac, by the way, for those that don't know. The senior engineers in that organization use an M2, and that was like literally, it wasn't the pay, it wasn't who we'll be working with, it wasn't the product or the project. I mean, all those things contributed. But the final reason why he accepted the offer was because it was going to be using a Mac, an M2, like it was the latest edition, I think 2022. So I use that as an illustration to let you know that things as minor as, tools and resources that people have access to could be like major determinants when it comes to accepting an offer. And then, of course, work hours, pay, workplace, etc., etc. Those kind of things also contribute to um employee well-being. Please give me a second. Sorry, I'm trying to escape this. Okay. Um, sorry, I need to sort of. Ah, shit. Just get off. Okay, now. Am I still audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ah, okay, awesome. I was just trying to see like if I was still on the call. Let me share my screen. I wanted to return a call, but the person just sort of
So while we are waiting for Faith to join back, I just launched a poll. Please feel free to fill in the answers to those questions. It will help us um, find better ways to um, do better with our products and also know your concerns. So by filling those questions, answering the questions, we'll be able to like know where to improve and how to serve you better. So please feel free to answer. And also don't forget to drop questions. If you have questions during the course of his presentation, you can also drop it in the chat box.
Okay, yeah. So hi guys. Sorry about that. I had to like attend to someone. Um, okay, yeah, I think I was there. I'm audible, right? Please, can you confirm that I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, awesome. So I was just talking about like how like things like tools, like resources people have access to, and other very things that seem minor might have like major impact when it comes to employee well-being. That being said, so another question for you guys: what's the most exciting employee well-being program that you've seen or heard about in your life? And I intentionally use in your life. I should have said in your career or something, but it might not be you experiencing it. It might be your uncle or your auntie or your friend in the US or another country. What's like the most exciting, employee well-being or maybe employee benefits that you've heard about? Anybody? Let me check the chat box. Sorry. I could access the chat box just now. And again, you can unmute if you're speaking. Um, okay, so I have to stop sharing, so I'll be able to see the chats. Oh, okay, nobody has typed in the chat yet. Okay, we are still typing. You can unmute if you want to speak. Okay, so while I wait for like responses, because of time, I will just continue. I'd ask that question because I'm a talent manager, these are things that I am continuously researching. I am always like very blown away when I see the kind of just well-being programs that different organizations have, right? I have seen people that, for example, changing from a 5-day work to a 4-day work. That's amazing. Yeah. I knew there was a country that championed this last year. I can't remember, it was Poland. I wrote an article about it. But statistics actually shows that people were more productive when they worked 4 days than when they work 5 days. I'm very sure that a Nigerian founder don't want to hear that. Actually, I think there was a Nigerian company that also tried it out. I can't remember now, but I'm very sure if you Google 5 work day, a 4-day week or 4-day work week, something like that, and you put Nigeria at the front, there is a Nigerian company that will come up. You can try it. It's either Lafarge or I know it was a manufacturing company. I cannot remember right now. So yeah, that's amazing. I've heard, of course, I've heard a lot of companies that have like they literally have gym right in the office. So you can come to the office early and gym, like fully gym and then freshen up right in the office before you resume your work. And then you can work in the office and then after work, you gym right in the office. I have heard of offices that have swimming pools. I know that like a lot of Nigerian offices have games room, things like that. Uh, these things look very minor, but they actually contribute a lot to employee well-being, right? So I am just going to go straight to examples of employee well-being programs. I'd sectionalized it into like physical well-being and socioeconomic well-being, because just to sort of have some procedural approach to this. And then so I'm going to start with physical well-being. We have like on-site fitness programs. Interestingly, like I've used that as an illustration. Either is having like aerobics every fortnight or every month, as the case may be, or going for I know a couple fit techs, that do something like morning march, morning run, where they, have merge and then maybe do a run in their estate physically. They ask remote employees, to do from wherever they are and, send in videos and all that. Some growth and marketing team even make a whole campaign, out of this, right? Fitness memberships. I think that like requirement, every company should have like fitness memberships for their member of staff. You do not have to use like the premium ones. I am not promoting any brand here. You can use, the basic ones, but it's very important that employees resume and they know that their HMO sort of covers fitness memberships. And I intentionally did not put HMO here because HMO is like the most basic thing. Everyone should have access to HMO. The third is economic work environment, and this is sort of tricky, which is why I put, this image on there. Again, because this is my specialty, I research and read about this a lot. There is a Nigerian company that when you resume with this organization, interestingly, they are not even a fully remote company. They're an hybrid company. But when you resume, they give you, I can't remember, is it 2x of your salary to set up your workspace? So either you have a workspace or not, they actually give you a certain amount to set up your workspace. Like someone that I know that got into the company told me that the money was enough for him to buy an extra monitor, either of a new generator or is an inverter. Of course, he went for an inverter. And I think an ergonomic chair and table. So you can do the math if you're in Nigeria. You can know how much he received to be able to like afford like a second monitor. And I'm not talking about like Sony or HP. I'm talking Samsung. A solar, inverter and like a chair and table, an ergonomic chair and table, right? And like this, is a company that doesn't even work fully remote. They work hybrid. So they actually go to the office on some days. It just shows how important like ergonomy is to productivity. I could spend 1 hour talking on ergonomy and productivity. I'm not even joking. I know companies that they have like standing tables. So for their devs, their devs, their customer experience people that sit behind the desk for a long period of time, they actually have, if you watch a lot of Korean or American movies, you probably have seen those tables where you can just sit, you can stand and do productive work and not like feel stressed or anything. And when you are done, you go back to sit. Some people have tables that can swing, high and low, right? If you watch K-drama, if you've seen like Agency, that kind of table was used, in the movie, right? So ergonomy is a whole lot of things. What does the workplace look like remotely? What does the office workspace look like? What does the aesthetic look like? Are there plans? Are there things that emits natural breath to a company that is just feeling stressed? And is it app? The question I remember, like there's a company I work with, where I was the lead people and culture, and like the question my CEO asks me every Friday is, "Hey, are people happy to come to work?" That was literally what my KPI revolved around. One, are people happy to come to work? Second, are people happy to do the work, right? So it's very important that people are happy to come to work and people are happy to do the work. And ergonomy contributes a lot to that. And then socioeconomic well-being. Again, this is a lot, just like a couple of things. Trust me, I can spend 3 hours talking on employee well-being programs. When I do like consulting with funders, they are often amazed about how wide and how deep and just the range of how much you can leverage employee well-being programs for productivity, even for talent acquisition, for talent retention, and a lot of other things. But right now we are focused on productivity. So one is like accommodation policy. So if you live in Nigeria, especially if you live in like a mega city like Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, accommodation is a problem. It's not hidden. Like it's obvious everywhere. Like 1 million cannot even get you a good apartment in Lagos, right? So if you have a staff, how are you helping them solving that? Do you want to have, I know it again, and I keep saying I know a company. I cannot mention this company's name because I am not here to promote any company, but they are actually things that exist, right? They are policies that people have implemented. I know a company that bought an apartment at a GRA, like I don't know if they bought it or they leased it. Yeah, they leased an apartment, right, in a GRA very close to their office. The way I'm talking about it, you even probably know the company. So they leased because the company office is also in the GRA. So they leased an apartment. The apartment is about, I think, like so four-bedroom duplex or maybe 4 3-bedroom duplex. And so they now rent the apartment to their staff. Again, they do not rent it and let the talents pay, right? They rent it and then they deduct the rent from the talents like monthly pay over a long period of time. So here you are, you get a new job and you're living in an apartment and you do not even know that you are paying for this apartment because they are removing the tiniest possible amount from your salary every month. You might not even feel it, the fact that they are removing the amount and you're living in like an amazing apartment. And I mean, there are a bit of cons to that, but there are a lot of pros because you are living with your colleagues. Two, you are very close to work. Three, you are not stranded by any landlord. I think they leased the apartment for like 25 years or something. and that's just like one of the many things that you can do. You can have accommodation policy where you sort of, pay for rent and ask people to pay back interest free. There are a lot of things that you can play around with this. Second, like paid time off. Now, again, there was a funder. Was it a funder? I cannot remember. It wasn't, no, it wasn't a funder. It was a conversation. I cannot remember the conversation right now. I think maybe it was like a learning session also. And I was just talking about the importance of how you draft your benefits, like how you communicate your benefits. There is a lot of things that you can do with paid time off. Yeah, everybody knows that paid time off is paid time off. Leave is leave, but how have you optimized the leave? What kind of leave do you even have? Can people want to write a professional exam, for instance, and they come and take leave, right? What's your maternity leave, right? Do you even know that paternity leave exists, in some major cities, Lagos inclusive, right? And like it's actually legal to give your male staff a paternity leave. Are you aware? Is your talent manager aware? Again, there are a lot of things that you can, do with PTO that I'm not sure if I want to share here. Vico access, I included it because this is like a policy that was also like implemented in different places I've worked, just giving people access to mobility, again, at a cost, but they are the one that pay the cost back, in the most accessible way. This last one is very interesting, and I intentionally included it because if you go back to the slide where I was talking about employee well-being, um, let me see. I don't know if it's yeah, peak performance. So one of the contributors to like peak performance is employees stay productive. Now, this point is very important because people get bored at work, right? People get bored doing something monotonous every day. And so sometimes you want to variegate what they do. You want them to work on exciting projects. Again, I have worked with organizations and I've also implemented this in organizations that allows you to take bubble assignments. What is bubble assignment? Bubble assignment means that, for instance, as a data analyst, right, you can go and do a 1 week internship with the customer experience team. Now, why is the data analyst working with the customer experience team? Because he or she or they want to understand what are the most frequent challenges that customer experience face, from the customers. And just doing that might help them, process some data. A product designer can go and work with the customer experience team. A product manager can work with customer experience team because that way you're relating directly with the customers that help, process the data or, give you the information that you need to make your app or your platform more friendly, more usable, more easier to use if there's a word like that and it's not tautological. I mean, reverse case could happen. A customer experience person could go and work with the product design team or with the data team. How does the data team process the information that they get from the customer experience team? Are they even processing it the right way? What are the information that the data team needs and they do not have, but the customer experience team have access to? And depending on what the setting of the organization is like, this is something that I've worked with at a multinational, right? And there's something that I've also implemented as a startup. So it works like that way. Again, I kept this slide pretty short, like for two reasons. It was a 1 hour session, and like I said, I can spend 3 hours just talking about employee well-being. And the second reason is because like there are a lot of these things that I do like on paid consulting basis, and I just didn't think that like it should be asset for free. But trust me, even the enough knowledge that I've shared here, right? If you take variation of all these things that I've shared, and if you research a lot more, you would see how much of impact and just how much you can be able to maximize employee well-being programs, to boost your staff productivity. I am also sort of watching time, so I am going to wrap up here. Improving the health and well-being of your employees, like, is a win-win all around, right? There's a joke that we used, I mean, not exactly a joke, but we used to say like, having a fit, well-rested employee is better than an employee maximizing our HMO. So we used to make, so I work with it. I used to make that quote in a company where the founders were like extreme workaholics. I remember that the first time the CEO went on leave, I was the one that sent him on leave. I had to like call his wife because I had a working relationship with his wife to say, hey, you have to carry your husband. Both of you have to travel out of this country. I do not want to see your husband in the office next week because he's exhausted, but he won't go on leave, right? So because they were both workaholics, they could not rationalize, just people going on leave when they ask, oh, where is this person? I'm like, oh, the person has gone on leave. Like, why is the person going on leave? Did the person not go on leave 2 months ago? And so that was why we coined the joke. But like, it's very important that either it's as a funder, either it's like a talent manager, either it's like a HR professional. And if you're here and you do not fall into any of these categories, it's also important that you have this knowledge so that when you're working in a team that does not prioritize all these things, you can either cascade to them to say, hey, it's actually very important that you prioritize this, or you look for better opportunities in environment that prioritize this. So improving the health and well-being of employees is like a win-win, right? You need an employee that is fit and productive to do good work, and you don't want to have your best talents lying in the hospital bed. Employee benefits from better support, form better, this should be form FORM, form better support, for their health. And companies also benefit from less absence. You do not want people that, in the hospital 2 weeks this month, 1 week next month. And all these things can be prevented if you just implement the right policies. It's very important that I point out that like people do not just go to hospital for like health related issues. Health related issues are not just, maybe the way to put it is, I'm not like a medical person, but like health related issues are not born out of just medical stuff. People go to hospital because they had an outbreak. People go to hospital because they fought their landlord 4 times out of 5 times in a week. People go to hospital because agents, are stressed their life for 1 month. They walked around Lagos and they showed them like a passage and call it wrong room safe count for them. Like those distress people to the extent of going to the hospital. So if you look at the slide where I talked to employee benefits, you would realize that it's very important that you pay attention to both the physical wellness and then the socioeconomic wellness. I am going to stop there. Remember where we started from? We started from defining what, sorry, we started from defining like what peak performance is, and we talked about how it is optimal performance physically and mentally. Um, then we talked about like employee well-being and just talked a bit about all rounds of employee well-being, the components, how different, how the most minute things sometimes add values to employees. And then we talked about, kinds of employee well-being and just different initiatives you could implement, and the importance of course, optimizing well-being for productivity. So I am going to stop talking now and take questions if there are any. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Faith. That was really insightful. Do we have questions? If you have questions, you can unmute, or you can drop your questions in the chat box. So while we're speaking, Manafit, you mentioned something under physical well-being that really struck me when you said economic work environment, where there's a company that gives you a certain amount to kick off work. I mean, that's a level, and it's somewhere. I think it's something that all companies leaders should look at and work towards. Also, when you mentioned the benefits of employee well-being, I can vividly remember when my team lead like actually forced a colleague of mine to go on leave. Like the guy was drained, like it was not really productive. It was at work, but was not productive. But he refused. But then you're in the office, you're not being productive. So you have to like force him to go on leave. So these are the things that leaders should look at and work towards, and it helps with productivity in the workspace. So thank you so much. That was really, really insightful. During the course of sending out invitations to people to join this webinar, we sent out a link for people to drop in questions even before today. So we have a few of them. I'm just going to take like 3 or 2 because of time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Before that, do we have questions? Does anybody have question here? Okay, let me check. So I don't miss anything.
Yeah, I also think people can unmute to ask questions if need be.
Yeah, so okay, not waste too much time. So one of the questions here says, how can well-being program contribute to increase employee retention? So you mentioned a lot of things. So how can well-being program increase employee retention? Yeah.
I'm very sure that like if the person that asked that question is part of this, he or she can probably like add one plus one together and like get the answer of that. But yeah, everyone wants a great place to work, right? And people exactly do not want to like jump around. I mean, like there are people that want to jump around. There are people that that's their hobby, working at one company, for a certain number of months and then jumping to another company. Yeah, but like, there are people I know a lot of people. I was just looking at a couple of my friends' acquaintance LinkedIn just last week, and like there are people that have worked with one company for like 5 years, one company for like 4 years, 6 years, and like they are my mates. So they are not like old people. I was just
Yeah.
seeing one of my friends that worked with a major company, AFC, for 4.5 years, right? She'll be clocking 5 years in June, and it's simple. These companies are great. They have like good well-being, good compensation, good promotional structure. So people want to do good work and people want to work in a good place. So an employee well-being initiatives, employee benefits, or employee wellness program contributes a lot to, this. So it's a direct, it's not even a secondary impact. There are like other HR initiatives that are like secondary impact, but for employee well-being and wellness, it's a direct impact. When you have good forward-thinking employee policies, people want to stay at your company, right? And so
Of
I think
course.
that's the best way to answer that question.
Yes. Thank you for that. So the second one is what is the connection between employee well-being and overall company performance?
That's a very brilliant question to ask. So, and like I used to say this, two things. One, when you have done your best as an employer, you know that you can hold your employees accountable. I remember like there was a place I worked, and like I basically tell talents that hey, you asked for this and we did this. So you actually have no excuse not to deliver your job. You said that you needed internet or something, and so we provided everybody MiFi and provided data too. So you cannot come and tell me the reason why you did not get your job done is because you did not have data, because the company already bought you a MiFi or whatever it is, either it's a MiFi or a telecoms link. I've forgotten all those things, Spectranet, right? And the company also gives you internet allowance. So you cannot tell me that, and we even give you workspace allowance. So we provide you internet, we provide you MiFi. We also give you workspace allowance. So you cannot give me an excuse that the reason why you did not get work done is because you didn't have internet, right? We provided everything. So there is a
Yeah.
level of confidence that also comes with just providing your employees the things, the tools. There is one of my manager, that's what she calls them, the tools. We've given you the tools to succeed. Just I watch it, of course, in my profile, you heard I watch a lot of female football. I support Chelsea, Chelsea women, and there's a video, from a documentary, and the coach was telling the players that, hey, this is Chelsea. We are winners. We do not give excuses here. We are going to give you the tools to succeed. We are going to provide all the things you need to succeed, but you have to succeed, get in or get out. If you do not succeed with all the tools that we're giving you, then we have to ship you out, right? So when you've provided the optimal things, you as a company, either as a talent manager or the co-founder or the CEO, will be able to hold your talent, responsible. But the flip side is also, even the talent will be excited to do their best work because they know that the things that you are providing are now available everywhere, right? And they also know that like you listen to their needs, or and they know that the company needs to keep making money so that they can keep making money. And people come and say, hey, talent do not believe in you. Hey, don't be loyal to any company. But like, trust me, there are employees that they have swear loyalty for us. We actually want to be loyal to a company that provides us a good place to work. So I think that like it's a direct correlation. Well-being contributes to productivity and obviously help company, achieve different business goals. Yeah.
I lost today. I don't know if it's my internet.
Can you hear me? What was the last thing you heard me say? Can everybody hear me in the
Okay,
chat
I
box?
can hear you now. Okay. Yeah, I think I heard the last thing you said. It was just cracking. I didn't know if you were done or you're still speaking.
Oh, okay, I was done.
Okay, thank you very much. So, in other words, you're trying to say that for a company that does not provide these tools that you mentioned, shouldn't expect productivity from the employee.
I did not say that. So again, it's dicey, right? So, and this is also very interesting. Different employees have want different things at different stage of their career. For example, when I speak with co-founders, and we talk about the way I would consult, the advice, the talent acquisition advice I will give to a YC company, a company that's gone to YC since 2018, versus a company that just got into Techstars in 2022 or 2023 are totally different, right? Because a company that had gotten into YC
Yeah,
since 2018 have access to a lot of resources. They probably have done Series A, maybe on their way to Series B. They have done their pre-seed, obviously.
sure,
They have a lot of funds. And so because they have a lot of funds, there's a certain talent they can attract. But the
sure.
people that like they just got into Techstars, they do not have that kind of funds. But guess what? That they do not have that kind of funds does not mean one, they cannot access quality talent. Two, that they cannot provide the best in their own way. For example, a YC company might be able to afford a trip to Ghana for their employees. A Techstars company cannot obviously afford a trip to Ghana. Do you want the investors to come and to come for their head? But guess what? A Techstars company can afford a group team to Omu Resorts. A trip is a trip. Either it's Omu Resorts or Ghana.
Mhm.
And like I intentionally use trip, as an illustration because we can easily draw parallels, right? It doesn't have to be trip, it can be gadgets, it can be a YC company can buy everybody Spectranet. A Techstars company, Techstars 20, let me be using the years, YC 18 and Techstars 22. A YC 18 company can buy everybody Spectranet. A Techstars 22 might not be able to do that. However, a Techstars 22 can pay people 10,000 naira data allowance. Both companies are providing internet solutions, to the staff. One is providing 10,000 naira per month, and the other one is able to, buy Spectranet. So sometimes it is not even about the cost or, about the investment or about the size of the company. It is, do you have the right intention? And because you have the right intention, are you able to maximize that small resources that you have to provide the best environment for your talent at that point in time? Sometimes that's what's important.
Mm, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. The third question says, what specific well-being program have you found most beneficial in your workplace?
I hope the person has attended the session because I've
Let me
answered
take
the
that
question.
again. What
Yeah.
specific well-being programs have you found most
Yeah, so I mean,
okay?
I'm not going to answer it because I've touched on it, and like there is no
Yeah, you
how like
mentioned a lot. I don't know which is
so there's no more specific really. It's just like when I had the session today, and I got a question around, oh, it was a session on onboarding, recruitment, talent acquisition, etc. And they had asked me how can we leverage recruitment to enhance D and I, inclusivity. And my response was, what is the inclusive gap that we are trying to bridge, right? So there is no, this is even all the places that I've worked, I cannot say this is the most effective. There are things that I can, state data. I can say, oh, after we implemented this, people experienced this, and this, people's wellness, people's lifestyle, what's that thing, standard of living, increased by a certain number of percentage. But and that was then, what was the best then might not be the best now, even for the same company. And even if what was the best then might not be the best for you. So I cannot say this is the best. My response will be, find out what works for you and ensure that you are maximizing or optimizing your resources to provide the best for your talent. Yeah, I hope you can still hear me. Hi, 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 can you hear me? Okay, I think that you dropped off a bit. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay then. So is anyone in the audience going to ask a question, or like should we sort of wrap up?
I'm sorry, my internet was I
Yeah,
can't
that's
log me
fine.
out. So yeah, so
Yeah,
thank you so much for that. Just want to ask if your slides can be shared, so we can share with others via mail.
I would think about it. Yeah, it's my intellectual
Yes.
property, and like this was not a paid engagement, so but then I would have to
Okay.
think about it.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And please kindly follow us on socials. We have BZ app on
Yeah, I think that
Instagram,
you
on
should share your
Twitter.
link, you share the links to like your company, share LinkedIn and like Twitter everywhere in the chat box so that people can just click on it and go to the platform.
Okay, thank you for that. Yes, Manifest LinkedIn handle as well. I think you shared it in the chat box. Please do it to engage and follow him as well.
Yeah, please, if you're a founder, like a co-founder or like something and you need like people related stuff, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and like send me a DM. Okay then. Thank you guys for inviting me in, and more importantly, thank you for organizing this and facilitating like a forward-thinking engagement like this. Well done to
Yes,
you and
thank you so much, Manifest. It was really nice having you around. Yes, you really touched a lot, and I've learned so much from this. And I believe everyone is on this chat event as well as learned a lot. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. And also we'll have an upcoming event, HRE events coming up 3rd and 4th of April. So please, if you happen to be at the event center, so please endeavor to stop by our booth. We'll be there live. Yes, and we'll have a lot of things to share with you as well. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.
Yeah, bye everyone. Take care.
Thank you.